Falcons Force were so close, but they missed it yet again.
Out phase 2v2 against the Falcons. Looking to move up from the low ground here. Ventura's up on the knoll. Will take the shots down towards them, suppression, but Mormon breaks forwards first. If they can isolate this fight quickly, they can handle him and move on to the next. But the spray downs are difficult to make work. Mormon behind the tree, the roll, the wrap around with the buggy, and the jump out wide. It's phase to take the chicken dinner.
So from Group Red, Na'Vi, Tongjibao and Nigma Galaxy are the three teams who have qualified to the grand finals. Na'Vi absolutely nailed it in these 4 days, ending as the table toppers of this group, followed by Tongjibao and Nigma Galaxy. But what if I say that the third place could have been secured by Falcons Force, who ended up at the 5th place in the overall standings? But they could have been the second runners-up if they had won that one final 2v2 battle against FaZe Clan. The defeat in that one single battle, which was the final battle of the final game of Group Red, pulled Falcons Force to the survival stages. Now, why this is such a big deal? It's because this team was being considered the favorites, literally by everyone. The entire community, including the casters and the analysts, all predicted this team to be among the top 3 teams. But they couldn't do it. And what's even worse is that this isn't the first time this roster has been so close to achieve something but failed to do so. So let's talk about Falcons Force today. Let's talk about this curse which has been following this roster for years now. But it looks like it has gotten way stronger now. So, let's first relive that agonizing moment of this roster in PMGC 2023. I'm sure that moment is still quite fresh in most of our mind. So this Falcons roster consisting of Top, Action, IC and Nirzet were a member of Soared Esports in PMGC 2023. No, East wasn't in Soared Esports. He was in 4 Medical Vibes in that same PMGC. Now, Soared Esports were, as always, considered to be the favorites. They were the literal kings of South Asia with 4 back-to-back PMPL SA Championship trophies, and the streak was not yet broken. Their performance in the previous PMGCs was also quite impressive, and before PMGC 2023, they looked to be at their peak. Now, fans had really high hopes from this team, and that went even higher when Soared Esports qualified to the grand finals directly from the group stages.
Everything is part of their grand design here over on Stalwart. Sent up, looks to go for a peek, but in the meantime they just realise they're scared, so they're just going to try and move further down. Action with a quick feed, and there's an immediate return from Icy again.
Oh, you can see the way they're playing it as well, trying to bait each other out, playing the numbers game, knowing they can trade for one of these players and peeking off each other's contact. Icy goes up close, shattered, as he will go down to the DBS, punishing him with a 1 punch. Low HP though, a not great positional play to work with. Got to pop those heals quick, bullet to the back, shuts down another one. Suddenly we're starting to see Stalwart coming out on top unless one man can make a difference. DBS closes the gap, keeps him in close check, looking for the finishes as well, but this is a rough position of being blank. He's behind the tree and he might be barking up the wrong one.
Just Nirzet versus Mafioso now as the circle begins to close. Nirzet goes for the jump peak.
Now their start to the grand finals as well was bang on. They had already bagged 2 wins in the first day itself and were proudly sitting in the first place. Now they did drop to the 4th place in the second day, but they pushed themselves back to the first place in the final day and were the table toppers with one last game remaining. Now that's when their curse hits them. IC goes down, followed by Nirzet. A little while later, Action goes down, and Top, being the last remaining player, gets taken down as well. And IHC dethrones Soared in the final game of PMGC 2023 and goes on to lift the trophy.
Joel, he stands up, he spots Top, and there's the knock, there's the flush as well. And Stalwart are looking to equalize, looking for more, turns his attention to Demo, sees him dash for the shack, gets behind the cover, but he's split from his teammate. Action is down in the meantime, and it is all up to Top. Can he keep things ticking on over? If he goes down now, it's all over. Demo up, running towards him. Shots are coming through. Top's so low.
There it is.
Vehicle's over the top. And Alex takes him down with a vehicle. IHC, the annihilators of the lobby.
Now from that day onwards, this team's performance came crashing down. Falcons Force recruits this roster at the start of 2024, and they go on to participate in the first ever PUBG Mobile Global Open held in the spring of this year. And this is when fans started noticing the crash in their performance. It seemed like they were still affected by their tragic loss in PMGC 2023, and that reflected in their gameplay. They ended up at the 8th place in the overall standings. Yes, I know, it's quite a decent result. Getting the 8th place in a global tournament is not a joke, I agree. But according to this team's standards, it was quite an average performance.
But Team Falcons, look at that. Hanging around in a shack, very, very close to boom. Let's see who's going to be able to get that nade off. Oh, and yeah, that's the hard part about a shack is if you're in there, there's only one place you're going to go. I'm surprised they're even getting off of this now.
Yeah, I think with too many teams rotating by, look at the minimap, multitudes of colors coming in here as Boom will come back and finish off the other two Falcons player, man, Falcons.
Now let's fast forward things a little. The streak which they had 4 back-to-back TMPL SA Championship trophies comes to an end when 4 Medical Vibes, their regional rivals, goes on to win PMSL CSA Spring. Falcons ended up at the 2nd place.
Such a good angle. 1 elimination. They got 1 point. Yeah. And Doc, wait, Doc gets it. He got 6 eliminations. Doc,
And he gets 2nd place for his team.
absolute god gamer. Don't push 1 by 1. Falcons, don't do that mistake. You're talking about beating Doc right now. No Zed. No Zed. Flush it. Can you flush it? Oh my god! Doc! What are you guys doing? Oh my god.
And then comes a big heartbreak. Falcons qualifies to the biggest mid-year tournament, the first ever PUBG Mobile World Cup. The group stage begins, and the top 12 teams out of all 24 were to advance to the main tournament. That's the grand finals. And Falcons doesn't qualify.
But Talon looking good. 2 eliminations now. They're on 76, and again, they too
Team
may have
Falcons!
beaten the bubble. Falcons are out.
The Falcons are out, folks, and you can see the look on their faces. Absolute devastation.
With a 16th place finish in the group stages, they go on to play the survival stages. The top 4 teams out of 16 would qualify to the main tournament, and Falcons ends up at the 5th place. Another global tournament and another heartbreak.
I see on the off angle is where this fight lives or dies for the Falcons. If that point gets flushed, if it gets found, they go down with it. Rook can envelop them. They will not be able to get away from it. Icy has to be forced back on in. That allows them to stay alive as 4. That is more important than keeping that high ground off angle.
That's right. That is right. But they are in a really bad position here. They're completely back against
Big
the
nade.
wall. Against a team that has nothing to lose here. They could just stay and just annoy Team Falcons. That's the hard part about this, is because Team Rook, they're not going to focus on play zone. They're just going to focus on this fight.
Anything else? I see he's getting lit up from the sidelines. Kipper Boss connects, finally able to get that spray, looking for the flush. Has to go for the reload and no one's there to back it up. The rest of Rook tumbling down, trying to go for it. Top, what are you doing? They don't even know these, or they might do, but they're not handling it. And Falcons now losing top, down on 2. Is this the demise after such a glorious rise? And again, the off angle strikes. Rook are just not letting up. Another nade moves forwards. There's the flush, and now it's just Nurzed for Falcons to try and keep them up in 3rd place. Can he do it? Can he hold on? 4 players from Rook move in, and none of them will go down. It is disaster for Falcons. 3rd place locked in for them, but there are teams chasing. Their ankles bitten, torn to shreds.
Now, the same storyline goes in the fall of this year. 4 Medical Vibes lifts the PMSL CSA trophy, and Falcons ends up as the runners-up for the 2nd time this year. But the thing which was different this time was that this team looked like they were getting back on track. They had some really amazing moments, and though they didn't look as strong as they were in PMGC 2023, but they looked promising. And with a 2nd place finish in PMSL CSA, Falcons qualifies to this PMGC. Now, by looking at their performance in PMSL CSA, fans this time had high hopes, again, as always. Top looked to be back in form, and their new addition, East, also brought in a lot of firepower. Now, day 1 began, and Falcon Force grabs a win in the 3rd match itself.
Lonesome. on this other side of the road, trying to combat on the crossing. Nades from Getso Roy, not gonna find it. The spray down from Falcons on the high ground as turns the corner and Lemon is able to do it. 180 and the rest of Team Queso to the rescue. Over the top, they left Papi Potro alone for a while, but they thought, you know what? Let's give them a little bit of a hand. Getso Roy out of it, but it's all on the Falcons. All eyes on them as they are racking up the elims now. 6 elims and they're looking for more. A spray down on the sidelines and Na'Vi actually find Team Queso in a 1-for-1 joust, but it's all to the Falcons on the high ground. That shift out to the west, there was only one way they win it, and the Falcons take it home. What a way to close it out.
Now that was a good start, but consistency is what matters. And Falcons for the next 3 days couldn't quite keep it up. And as a result, Falcons were sitting at the 6th place in the overall standings with one final game remaining. The top 3 teams were to qualify to the grand finals, and Falcons were just 12 points behind Nigma Galaxy, who were sitting at the 3rd place. Now, Nigma Galaxy gets eliminated at the 6th place with 4 elims to their name, which gives them a total of 6 points. Now Falcons by this point were already at 7 kills, which means that if they go on to win this match from here on with just a couple of elims, they would dethrone Nigma Galaxy from the 3rd place. The game goes on, and at the end, we get to see a 2v2 battle between FaZe Clan and Falcons Force. A win in this fight takes them to the grand finals. And they mess up.
Suppression, but Mormon breaks forwards first. If they can isolate this fight quickly, they can handle him and move on to the next. But the spray downs are difficult to make work. Mormon behind the tree, the roll, the wrap around with the buggy, and the jump out wide. It's FaZe to take the chicken dinner, but have the Falcons been able to find enough, beating the chest? But what will the final table say? The top 3 are in flux here as FaZe Clan take down the Falcons.
Falcons Force ends their group stage in the 5th place with a total of 168 points. 4 points behind Nigma Galaxy. This takes them to the survival stages. And let me again remind you, Falcons couldn't make it to the grand finals from the survival stages in the World Cup this year. So can they do it this time? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. And I'll see you next time.